And with Trump asserting that U.S. munition stockpiles are at a record level and Iran's sustained fight back as of now, it looks like an early cessation of hostilities remains unlikely. At this point, joining me on the broadcast is a very special guest, Douglas MacGregor, former senior advisor to the U.S. Secretary of Defense. He is also a Gulf War combat veteran and PhD in international relations. Appreciate very much your being here. I have to begin by asking you for your comments on what just unfolded with the war now spilling beyond West Asia. Also, help us understand who really is in charge and controlling the war right now. Is it the U.S. or Israel? Is it Trump or is it Netanyahu?
These are very good questions. We need to understand that the United States is trying to bomb Iran, a country half the size of India, into submission to Israel's demands. There is no strategy. This is producing a catastrophe, and the world is paying for it. Right now, the Straits of Hormuz are closed. That's not likely to change. And if we try to interfere with that, we'll lose whatever ships we send through it. And that's a disaster for India because 50% of your oil, 60% of your liquefied natural gas all come through the Straits of Hormuz. And in the meantime, the Iranians are hitting Israeli citizens now, or cities now, with missiles that are flying at 4,000 miles per hour. You can't stop them. You can't shoot them down. Iran has already struck 27 American military bases. Iron Dome can't stop them. Nothing can. A single drone flew more than 1,000 miles and destroyed a British base in Cyprus. Some estimates say that we have perhaps 450 interceptor missiles left in the region. Iran has 10,000, and that number is rising. That's just one category of missiles. So I don't know where President Trump is getting his numbers, but that's simply ridiculous. And I think we have to understand that this war is being fought for one reason and only one reason. And that is that Mr. Netanyahu, with the aid of Zionist billionaires in the United States, has successfully gained control of the policymaking apparatus in Washington, D.C., and is dragging the United States into war.
So are you then saying that this is no longer America first, as Trump has been touting? It now has, in a way, become Israel first there in the United States.
The United States doesn't really play in this. America first is dead as far as this administration is concerned. This is Israel first. And the problem for all of this, as you know, is this is not just an energy story for India and other nations that depend on Gulf oil. It's a food security story. India's national security is on the line. European gas is up 50% and climbing. A global recession is no longer a forecast, it's a reality. There's no end in sight to this militarily. This is going to continue for weeks unless someone steps up, and I don't expect that to happen in the United States, and helps to broker a ceasefire and an end to the conflict.
Right. I also have to ask you, what do you make of Iran's resistance right now? Also, the way Iran's drones, particularly, are becoming a headache for the United States. Did America not anticipate this would happen?
You know, these kinds of things could have been anticipated. We've watched drone warfare develop inside Ukraine during the war between Russia and Ukraine. We have an appreciation for it on what I would call the battlefield level or tactical level. We completely excluded the possibility of its operational and strategic impact. And so, no, we were not prepared at all. The bottom line is this, I think. As we look at the Persian Gulf today, the American era in the Gulf is really ending. This war is going to sweep the United States out of the Persian Gulf. The damage is enormous. Will it be rebuilt? We'll see. Will it be financed? Who knows? Someone will shape it. My point is this. We're learning the hard way that sovereignty in 2026 means, do you control your own fuel, your food, your fertilizer, and your defense supply chains?
Right. Pete Hegseth also earlier claiming that this is, of course, what he said just a while ago, that the U.S. and Israel, he claims, will have complete air domination of Iran within a week's time. Do you really see that happening?
No. We have it right now over northwestern Iran. Can we extend it over the whole country? I don't know. I think it's going to take time. Remember, Iran is half the size of India. And Iran has developed what we call distributed command and control. and they have missile facilities, launch facilities, air and missile defense facilities all over that country. We don't even know with certainty where they all are. So we're trying to find them, but we're not having much impact on them. And the numbers of missiles and drones that are being launched against us in the Gulf, in the entire Middle Eastern region, is actually rising. More and more are being launched. So I don't know where President Trump gets these estimates. I suppose he's getting them from the Department of War, but I have no idea. I just don't see any evidence for these claims that are being made right now.
What about China and Russia? What role do you see them playing here?
Well, China is involved already. Now, the Chinese have built up an enormous strategic reserve of oil. So the shutdown of the Persian Gulf is not nearly as damaging to China as many anticipated. There were actually foolish people in America that thought this war might be a good idea because it would harm China. It's harming India, it's harming Japan, South Korea. It's not harming China at this point. The Chinese are not going to allow Iran to be utterly destroyed. Neither will Russia. And that's very, very obvious because Iran has a critical role to play, not just in the region, but globally. They're part of BRICS. They're part of the One Belt, One Road project, which is designed to ultimately connect all the nations on the Eurasian continent. So they're not going to allow that to happen. Now, at what point do they involve themselves? I don't know. The more important question at this stage is, when does Israel say it's had enough? Israel is being utterly destroyed. And when do the Israelis stand up and say, if this doesn't stop, we will use a nuclear weapon? That's my concern, because that would be a catastrophe for the world.
All right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much for being here and sharing those perspectives.
Thank you.
The war in West Asia rapidly deepening the humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip. After Israel closed all border crossings following the escalation in the war with Iran, fuel and food supplies running dangerously low. Aid agencies warning that time is running out for millions. Take a look.
Israel shut all crossings into the Gaza Strip after its joint strikes on Iran. Officials say the borders cannot operate safely during active hostilities. The move has sealed off Gaza, home to 2 million people. After years of war, the territory relies almost entirely on imported food, fuel, and medical supplies.
Families are waiting for aid, waiting for food parcels, waiting for food and drink. All of this has been halted because of the closure of the crossings. A few days ago, the World Central Kitchen announced the suspension of its services due to the crossings being closed and lack of aid entering.
Fuel stocks are nearly depleted. Hospital generators, water pumps, and sanitation systems could soon shut down without fresh deliveries.
Tomatoes are now $6.49. A bag of flour is $64.8. Ever since they heard about the closure of the crossings, we call on everyone with a living conscience to pressure Israel to open the crossings.
Humanitarian groups say food supplies may last only days. Bakeries have flour for about 10 days, and aid parcels could run out within 2 weeks. Last year, a total siege led to famine-like conditions. Hundreds were killed trying to reach distribution sites run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
If the crossings remain closed and aid in all its forms is not allowed in, whether medical, food, shelter supplies and other basic necessities for Palestinian citizens, at the forefront of that, the water sector and the maintenance of water networks, we will be facing a dangerous situation, and a return to famine may be in a form worse than before.
With West Asia remaining on the edge, panic buying swept markets. Prices of flour and rice spiked, making basics harder to afford. For ordinary Gazans, this is yet again a war they did not choose. Civilians in the Gaza Strip are once again bearing the brunt, families already displaced by years of fighting. face empty markets and staring at another prospect of humanitarian disaster.
Protests are raging in Pakistan after Khamenei's assassination. While next-door neighbor Iran is under attack from the US and Israel, its attacks on Saudi Arabian territory have also put Pakistan in a fix. It is clearly spooked by the Iran war. The Pakistan Defense Minister Khwaja Asif, for instance, has raked up a quote-unquote Zionist conspiracy. He dubbed the Iran war as an attempt to bring Israel's influence up to his country's border. Asif went on to add that Iran, Afghanistan and India will join hands to turn Pakistan into a vassal state. And this assumes significance amid Pakistan's ongoing war with Afghanistan. While the Afghanistan government has claimed to have killed 150 military personnel, Pakistan has alleged that 464 Taliban fighters have been eliminated. Pakistan is also facing the prospect of being embroiled into the West Asia war in the scenario of Saudi Arabia deciding to launch retaliatory strikes against Iran. This is because of the Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement signed by Pakistan and Saudi Arabia in Iran last year. While specific details were not disclosed as such, the two countries pledged that any attack on either country would be treated as an act of aggression against both. Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister making a big claim in this regard. Speaking on the floor of the National Assembly, he hinted that he told the Iranians that Pakistan will have to militarily aid Riyadh if it is attacked due to the Defense Pact. And according to him, this helped deter heavier Iranian strikes on Saudi Arabia.
We have strategic mutual defense pact with Saudi Arabia. The whole world knows about it. We are bound by that. I immediately reminded our brothers in the leadership in Iran that please keep that in mind. They asked for some assurances. They told me to tell them that their soil should not be used. I took those assurances and gave them. So Alhamdulillah, you saw that perhaps the minimum reaction at this time has not been against Saudi Arabia and Oman.
The claim coming days after at least 25 people lost their lives when thousands hit the streets in multiple parts of Pakistan to protest against the US and Israel following the killing of Khamenei. The protest took a rather drastic turn in Karachi as guards at the US consulate opened fire on protesters who tried to breach the compound's outer wall. Locals were incensed as 10 protesters were killed in the firing. Subsequently, the Sindh government had to announce a high-level inquiry as well. Lahore, the hometown of the Pakistan Prime Minister, also witnessed chaotic scenes, with protesters setting fire to the entrance of the US consulate. Considering the worsening security situation, the US cancelled all visa appointments in Pakistan until Friday. In wake of the growing internal turmoil, Pakistan faces a rather tough diplomatic challenge as it is increasingly being sandwiched between Iran and Saudi Arabia.